Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Yes, I'm being cheesy, I'm quoting a song. I couldn't help it because today it's a tricky question about kids and their lies. And oh boy, do they tell some porky pies. Today, a tricky question from a mum who wants to know why her 8-year-old cannot tell the truth about simple stuff, even when the truth is staring them right in the face. The Happy Families podcast will answer that question for you next. Stay with us. Hello and welcome to the Happy Families podcast, where you get real parenting solutions every single day. The Happy Families podcast is Australia's most downloaded parenting podcast. Thank you so much for listening and downloading and supporting your family as best you can. Every Tuesday on the Happy Families pod, we answer your tricky questions. They can be about family stuff, relationships, well-being. It can be about screens or discipline. It doesn't really matter what it is. Just send us a voice note and we will answer the question. Send your voice notes via email to podcasts@happyfamilies.com.au or use the super simple system at happyfamilies.com.au to send us your message, just like Katie from Brisbane.
Hi, Justin and Kylie. We have a situation where our 8-year-old boy is being a bit sneaky and lying to us, and he's never done it before. It's just little things at the moment, like watching television when we've told him no, or sneaking lollies and treats when he's not allowed, and then flat out lying to our faces when we question him about it. And we've had a few chats to him, but I was just wondering if you could offer a little bit of advice about what to say to him. I kind of want to get through to him now before that tiny stuff becomes big stuff as he gets older. Thanks so much.
Katie, I'm thinking about the first time we ever went through this. Our eldest daughter was probably 4 or 5, and she came home from the neighbour's house. She'd been playing there that afternoon, and I could hear some jingling in her pocket. And I asked her what was in it, and she said, "Oh, nothing." And I said,
Did you say, "Liar"? I didn't hear it. Liar.
I said, "Let me have a look at that nothing." And I pulled out a handful of 5s and 10s and 20-cent pieces, and I was like, "Where did you get that from?" She said, "Oh, my friend gave it to me." And I thought, maybe we should go talk to your friend's mum. And so we went back over, and she was very sheepish, and she handed the money back over. And in that moment, all I could think about was I had this daughter who had clearly been dishonest. She'd lied to me, and she'd obviously lied to her friend.
And stolen.
And she had stolen. And the catastrophizing that took place in that moment. I was the worst parent in the world. My neighbour wasn't going to let her play with her daughter ever again. She was going to think I was the worst person in the world. And then I'd fast forwarded, and I was going to be at the police station with her. And it was just this really big moment in time. And I felt so heavy with it all. And yet now sitting in the chair, having gone through 6 children of lies and all the things that come with dishonesty. And I realise now just how seemingly, I don't want to say insignificant. It's not insignificant, but it's not the big deal that I thought it was in the moment.
Let's have a look at some stats. There is data on this. Researchers have calculated and analysed and researched, because that's what they do. The average 2-year-old, about 25% of them lie. About 50% of 3-year-olds lie. So lying is actually a cognitive development. Like, it shows cognitive sophistication. I know that. I know
I'm going to have to come up with some good lies.
I know that.
Clearly, I'm not thinking sophisticatedly enough.
Well, you think about it. If you can tell a lie, that means that you've got the ability to identify what's going on in your mind, and also the ability to identify what's happening in another person's mind. And then you're able to plan. You're able to inhibit. You're able to regulate.
And hopefully keep track of the lies.
Well, that's right. There are different levels of lie. And typically, like, if you ask a 2 or a 3-year-old to tell you the truth about something, let's say they've got chocolate cake all over their face and in their hands because they're still in the middle of eating it, and you say, "Did you eat the chocolate cake?" They will look at you, and because they have limited cognitive sophistication, because they do not inhibit well and they don't understand other people's mental states, they will hide the chocolate behind their back and they'll say no. And it's quite obvious that, which actually reminds me, when you catch your children doing the wrong thing, do not ask them what they're doing or if they've done it. Just tell them what you can see. Otherwise, you end up getting them in trouble for lying as well. Anyway, I digress. So by 4, around about 90% of kids are lying, and that's because they're starting to develop bit by bit that thing called theory of mind, which is understanding perspective, other people's perspective, that something's going on inside your brain that's different to what's happening in my brain. By the age of 7 or 8, the data shows that approximately 100% of kids are telling lies. And now that doesn't mean that they're all compulsive.
So what you're saying is there's no hope.
That's not
Your child is going to lie.
Well, yeah. I mean, to quote House, everybody lies, especially when they're 7 or 8. And mostly they lie because they don't want to get in trouble because they want stuff and the big people in their lives are telling them that they can't have it, like TV or snacks, just like Katie said.
So it's a comfort zone though, right? They like their life the way it is. And if they tell the truth, then that comfort gets taken away because they don't get to do the thing they want to do. But there's also friction in the relationship. Yeah,
for sure. So there are two things that I need to really emphasize here. I think they're the most important things you can know when it comes to your child lying, particularly when they're under those adolescent years. Okay, so we're talking about somewhere between 5 and 10, maybe 5 and 12. First off, I mean, this applies for older kids and even adults as well, but this is especially important in these early years. First off, the more harsh you are in the way that you respond to lying, so the more punitive you are, the more punishment there is, the more you're likely to get more lies from your child. Your child is more likely, not less likely to lie. And that's basically because they don't want to get in trouble. And so they lie more to conceal more. It's not that they become better kids so they don't get in trouble. They still want the treat. They still want the TV. They still want YouTube. They still want Roblox. They still want the stuff you're saying no to. They just get sneakier and sneakier and more skilled at either getting it or deceiving you once they've had it. Data shows that the more you endorse harsh, punitive measures, the more likely it is that your kids will lie. Because they know they're going to get in trouble, and lying is literally, I don't want to get in trouble. That's why this is my opportunity to signal how awesome a parent I've tried to be, and I've gotten it wrong more than I want to acknowledge. But that's why I try really hard not to get our kids in trouble. I don't want our kids to see us as people who are going to get mad at them every time they do the wrong thing, or choose, like you said, comfort over our austere measures, like, no, you can't have that treat and that ice cream that's in the fridge that's my expensive connoisseur ice cream. It's more that I want to problem solve with them. I want to say, okay, so we've got a bit of an issue around honesty. Let's understand why. Okay, ice cream is really tasty to you. Let's figure this out. The second thing that's really important to emphasize is that when you've got a child, especially at this age, but even older, lying, this is not a moral crisis. It's a teachable moment, which goes back again to what I was saying. Basically, lying is an opportunity for us to solve problems. It's an opportunity for us to recognize that we and our children are not on the same page, and therefore to understand them better and then work out a way through whatever the issue is. So, Kylie, after the break, let's talk about the do's and do nots for Katie and anyone else who's got kids who are lying, which is pretty much everybody, and contrast what I think is going to, what the standard response is to what I think is going to be the absolute most helpful. Stay with us. That's next. We're back. This is the Happy Families podcast. Kylie, I've got some quick do's and don'ts for when the kids tell those porky pies.
I was thinking about what you said before the break, and I'm curious to hear your response because I've had this conversation with parents before where the idea of working with their children when, let's just use ice cream for instance, they've stolen an ice cream out of the freezer. And we know that they've done it and we go and talk to them about it. And then we work with them to come up with a way that they can have the ice cream, but in an honest way.
Or in a way that we can feel good about.
Right.
Or at a time that we feel good about.
It feels like they're being rewarded for something that they've actually done wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's not how I see it at all. I can understand that perspective, but I would disagree with it, and I'll talk about why as we go through the different ways to do it. Let's just really hit these don'ts because they're very, very simple, and every parent can get their head around those first of all. Number one, don't come in with harsh consequences. Research shows it backfires. That's the first thing I'd say. It's okay to express your disappointment, your disapproval. It's okay to say lying's not all right, but the more you come down hard on your kids, the more they're just going to feel shame, the more they're going to feel anxiety, the more they're going to be like, I can't trust my parents with anything. I've got to hide everything from them. It will backfire. The second thing, don't set traps for the kids. That's a surefire way to undermine the relationship. It doesn't work very well. It doesn't work.
What do you mean by a trap?
Oh, well,
like leave the ice cream out.
Yeah. Leave some money somewhere. Set up some surveillance where you can ask them to tell you something, and then you're like, well, actually, I've been tracking what's going on, and I know that you turned on the TV, or I know that you've been on the internet because I've got this new software. When you do that, what you've just done is you've told the kids, oh my goodness, I've got to be really sneaky now. You might stop them doing the wrong thing when they know there's surveillance, but there's no internalization going on. As soon as they're out of earshot, eye shot, as soon as they know that you can't surveil them, as soon as they're at somebody else's house, they're just going to go nuts. They're going to do all the stuff that they can't do at home, and they're going to think you're the worst parent in the world. Whereas when you resolve these problems together and find solutions that everyone can feel good about, where possible, you're just going to get better outcomes, and they're going to internalize so much more. Third, don't shame your kids. I can't believe you'd lie to my face. Why would you do that? Because shame is one of the best ways to destroy relationships and undermine trust, and don't make it about you, which is when parents say, how could you do this to me? Why would you say this? I do everything for you, and now you're lying to me. It's just, it's ugly. Here's what to do instead. My top tips. Number one, question the framing. I'm wondering why your child feels like they need to lie in the first place.
Well, just like ice cream.
Well, then we don't need to lie about it. We need to work out a way that you can have ice cream at times and places that are appropriate for everybody. So I was just thinking when I was listening to Katie, I know you talked about our daughter stealing the 70 cents or the $1.20 or whatever it was from the neighbours. When I was a kid, my dad had a milk run, and he used to deliver milk, and there were all these coins in an ice cream container in our rumpus room from his coin pouch when he was giving change to people on their doorsteps. And I used to just take so much of that money and go down to the local shops and put it into, do you remember that game, that aircraft carrier game, 1948, I think it was called? I used to play arcade games for hours and just put so many coins in there. One time, Mum found me at the shops with all these coins, and she said, where'd you get the coins? And I told a great big lie, and I could see it in her face. She knew. She absolutely knew. I used to steal all of the cheesecakes. We lived down the road from Sarah Lee at Niagara Park, and she'd go and buy all the seconds. So she'd buy the cheesecakes and the chocolate cakes and the banana cakes, and I would just go into the freezer and I would eat them all. And then I would put the empty cardboard boxes back into the freezer. And when we had guests over for dinner, Mum would go to the freezer thinking she had 8 cakes in there, and they were all empty. So there was no dessert because I'd eaten all the cheesecake, or there'd be a half-eaten cheesecake with my teeth marks in there. And she'd say, who ate these? And I would say, I don't know. And she knew it was me. The thing is, if we'd sat down and had conversations about when it's okay to eat this stuff and when it's not, if there were appropriate times for treats, if there was a better setup, I think it would have happened a lot less. I would have been less sneaky. I would have gotten in trouble for lying a lot less. What are we doing that makes kids feel unsafe telling the truth? To me, the inherent power imbalance is the problem here, because we're controlling the resources, we're imposing the arbitrary rules, and the kids have got no legitimate power to negotiate and figure out a way forward. So explore, explain, empower. Seems like you really want to watch TV. Seems like you really like these treats. We totally get it. How can we do this in a way that we can all feel good about it? Because these are our problems with it. Too much sugar, too much, square eyes, that kind of thing. And if you can problem solve effectively, you're just going to have a better outcome.
So my take home from all of this is don't stress. Everyone's kids are lying.
Yeah, sometimes.
Everyone's kids.
Yes. Yeah.
Even yours, if you don't think they are. And number 2, don't sweat.
Yeah, but have the conversations. Like, lying is not okay. It's the way that you respond to the lying that matters, though, because responding the wrong way is also not okay.
And here's the challenging thing. You're probably going to have that conversation a bajillion times.
No discipline conversations are one and done.
Yeah.
Whether it's cleaning up your room, making a contribution to the home, being nice to your brother or sister, or telling lies, you're going to have these conversations
over
a
and
lot.
over again.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that you're not doing the right thing, and it doesn't mean that they're not getting the message either.
Yep. It's just life parenting. It's hard. Hey, Katie, thanks so much for the question. We really hope this has been helpful and that your family is happier as a result of this. Good luck with the conversations. If you've got a tricky question for us, let us know. Podcasts@happyfamilies.com.au is where you can send your voice notes, or go use the super simple system at happyfamilies.com.au. We'd love to hear from you and answer your tricky questions on pretty much anything at all. We're back tomorrow with more on the Happy Families podcast, which is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. Mim Hammonds provides research and admin support. And for more info to make your family happier, visit us at happyfamilies.com.au.